Welcome to today's lesson on indefinite and definite articles. If you have not done so already, please make sure that you download and print out the notes so that you can follow along as we go through this presentation. If you've already have your notes, then let's begin. Cominciamo. So before we can talk about definite and indefinite articles, we first must discuss what is a noun. A noun, in English, is a person, place, or thing, and that exists in Italian as well. However, unlike in English, Italians use a classification system in order to group different types of nouns. And Italian nouns are grouped by two different classifications. The first is by gender. The other is by number. Now, when I talk about gender, I'm not saying that it's boy or girl. Instead, we're talking about masculine, which is one set of rules, and feminine, which is another set of rules. Now, just because I'm saying masculine and feminine does not mean that only boys use this set of nouns and only girls use this set of nouns. What I'm talking about is just a system of grouping and identifying words. You'll see more of what I'm talking about as we progress later on and as we do our practices. The second classification, which we also use in English, is number. Now, when we talk about the number of a word, we're either referring to it being singular, and singular means only one, and plural. Plural means more than one. So, in Italian, as we said, a word can either be masculine or a word can be feminine. And it can also be singular or plural. Now, when I look at the classification of a noun, I want to look at the ending of the word, because the ending of the word is going to change based on whether or not it's masculine or feminine or singular or plural. When a word is masculine and singular, it ends in an O. For example, the word boy. Boy is ragazzo. It ends in an O. And a word that is feminine and singular ends in an A. So if I want to say girl, well, you can imagine that I would drop the O in ragazzo and make it ragazza. Ragazza means girl. Unlike in English, we don't add an S to make something plural. Instead, we change the ending completely. So in order to say boys, we change the O and replace it with an I. So to say boys, we say ragazzi. And for an A, it becomes an E. So instead of ragazza, to say girls, we say ragazze. Book has a gender. We know that a word that is masculine and singular ends in an O. And the word for book is libro. Therefore, the word libro follows all of the rules for words that are masculine and singular. Do you remember what we said feminine and singular ends in? If you said A, then you're correct. For example, the word school. The word school is both feminine and singular. Scuola. Now, when we want to say something is masculine, plural, we change the O and make it an I. So if I want to say books, what would the libro become? If you said libri, then you're correct. And the feminine plural changes to an E. So when we want to say schools, more than one, we say scuole. So that's the easy part. Now we're going to kick it up a notch. Take a look at the side note. If a word ends in an E in the singular, then it changes to an I in the plural. For example, esame means test. If I want to say tests in Italian, more than one, then I say esami. Listen carefully for the difference. Test, esame. Tests, esami. So now we're going to talk about indefinite articles first. Very simply, an indefinite article is the way that we say a or an, like a book, a school, an apple, an orange. But we have 4 different ways to say a or an in Italian. And we choose which way we say a or an based on the rules of masculine and feminine. Now, singular and plural doesn't make a difference here because we can only use a or an with a singular word. So we know that a word, when it's masculine, ends in an O. When that word starts with an S and a consonant or a Z, then we use uno to mean a or an. For example, a backpack. The word backpack in Italian is zaino. Zaino ends in an O and starts with a Z. Therefore, we say uno zaino. When a masculine word ends in O and starts with anything but S plus a consonant or Z, so any other letter, then we use un. For example, a book, un libro. Now we have 2 different rules for feminine. We know that a feminine word ends in A in the singular. When a feminine word, meaning that it ends in A, starts with a vowel, then we use un apostrophe. The un apostrophe would be used for a classroom. A classroom would be un aula. When it starts with any other letter, meaning a consonant, then a vowel, so any consonant, we use una. For example, a school would be una scuola. So now at this point you have some practice questions at the bottom of your paper. You're going to pause the video, complete the practice exercises, and then replay the video for the answers. Obviously, this is on the honor system, so you can truck through it if you'd like. However, in order to get the most out of your practice, you should try it on your own. So now let's go through the answers. You'll take a look that matita ends in an A, so we know that it's feminine. It starts with a consonant. Anytime we have a feminine word that starts with a consonant, we use una. Amica, on the other hand, ends in an A, but begins with a vowel. Anytime we have a feminine word that ends in A, starts with a vowel, we use un apostrophe. Scrivania also is feminine, ends in an A, and it starts with a consonant, una. Scaffale ends in an E, but we know from our vocabulary list that it's masculine. Scaffale is a masculine word, and it has an S and a consonant. S plus a consonant, we use uno. Gesso ends in an O, so we know that it's a masculine singular word. It starts with a consonant, so we know it's un. Folio, same logic. Cestino, same logic. Zaino ends in an O, but starts with a Z. Based on our rule, we know that that's going to be uno zaino. Aula is a feminine word that starts with a vowel. We use un with an apostrophe. And esame ends in E, but we know that it's a masculine word, so we say un. Hopefully you got all of those correct, but if not, please feel free to see your teacher for a little extra help.